Hot and Cold already chatting to his former teammates. Expect more of that to come through this map. Always exciting when two former teams go up against each other with a bit of history. Predicted ban from M80 to finish this off would be Tubarao. That's their most common ban on Clubhouse for the last 6 months. We'd expect that to be taken off the board finally here. Easy reads left, right, and center. Very standard ban phase. Parker, no surprises. The Maverick may be a tiny bit of a curveball, but I think there's a lot of logic behind it, so neither of these teams should be too surprised. And in general, when you've got so much overlap in previous teams from these 10 players, really, you're going to be able to read your opponents decently well. And so M80 and Unwanted both should have a pretty strong grasp on what the other team wants to do on a map like Clubhouse, which already can be quite default when it gets played at a professional level. I'm really excited to see what kind of pocket strategies have been saved up just for this moment. Being the map pick of M80, you've got to imagine there's going to be a few things up their sleeves.
Well, they've got a Scopos for a basement defense, which means that there's going to be some extension upwards onto that first floor, maybe even onto the top floor. I think it was our match yesterday where we discussed in the secret Shopify Rebellion game what a Scopos does on a map like Consulate. Well, the big thing for Scopos is your ability to flex between the two operators. And I mean operators, even though it's technically one. You've got two robots. What do? You put one upstairs, maybe one on the main floor in a more hidden spot. You put one down in the basement. Now, the map like Clubhouse, it's quite big. It's going to take you about half of the round to competently drone and find where everybody sits. Where's Spoy going with it? Is he...
You go rat inside a strip, I believe. And I mean, you're not wrong, Parker. It takes a long time to drone this map. However, you don't really have to drone if you've got two shields. You can start face checking through the entire map. Spoy's going to try to disrupt that as soon as possible. I don't see anybody spawning over here, so he might not be successful. I'm not seeing any outlines. There's a couple that are over by Garage. Cold is already rushing in through Dirt Tunnel. There's some Goyo canisters that'll be popped, so that slows him down a little bit. What is the pace that Unwanted want to set for this very first round? You often see pro teams try to go fast for the first round to catch their opponents off guard. If they do, they might be able to catch off Spoit, but of course, on the Scopos, he can teleport right back, so that is the strength of that operator. I think with the Goyo canisters and Dirt, they've kind of reined in a little bit on the side of Unwanted and will slow things down for the first round. Deciding the rush is unlikely to be successful. Uh-oh. Not round one.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Panic. Panic. There we go. It's back.
Wonderful.
All thanks to Packer. He did it all himself.
Well, it's already rotated back towards the site. If his second body, as he switches back to it now, doesn't get droned out, he could go for a late round flank. If they start to push around the Moto hatch, that could be very, very dangerous. Although the site's looking a little tasty for Spirits.
They've droned out Blue quite extensively. They know that there's somebody playing back by the rotate. The idea is that those Bs will provide some coverage. Gunners had to peel off of this position. As Adam gets on the board first, that's Diffuser, the smoke, and the former player on this team. Uh-oh. Spirits is looking for you. Packer dies as he tries to escape. Excellent start by Unwanted as now Spoit goes down. Gavin on the board. Adam will die. This is not ideal. It's all up to the Goyo of Gunner, who's right now trapped inside a church. One shield still on the board. That's the Blackbeard. Hot and Cold getting Diffuser down. Gavin and Dream still upright. Firing away at the Blackbeard. You're not going to have much success there. Dream is on Diffuser, by the way. Or sorry, he's on Drone upstairs. Standing over top of the Diffuser, so good coverage by Unwanted as they're all spread around. And unfortunately, you can feel Gunner's frustration as no damage can be done to that Blackbeard. Gavin spots him inside of Blue, gets the final kill, and Unwanted very methodical with their entry point, taking control, Dirt Tunnel, Kitchen, and Blue. And Blue was the biggest issue for this M80 defense. What a first round.
Because of the shields. We're losing to these guys. If we're not losing to these guys. That's the simple point.
Packers hit the nail on the head. The shields are so important for Unwanted. Back at the Manchester Major, they were really one of the first teams to realize the strength of the Monty and the Blitz. Certainly, at that event, we saw a couple teams that were starting to run those shields, but it really wasn't until the offseason in Stage 2 when the rest of the world's kind of caught up to it. That was a big reason why, at the time, Beast Coast were able to win that major. Hot and Cold played so good on the Monty, and of course, Spirit's one of the best Blitz players in the entire world. Monty banned out, so it's Blackbeard and Blitz today from Hot and Cold and Spirits. But, I mean, you saw how effective that was in taking the space. They went direct into sight. You saw the dirt tunnel push coming through from Hot and Cold, and then Spirits was that guy focused around Blue, got that opening pick on a Packer to really open things up for Unwanted, and then put pressure onto Gunner as well. Spirits is, again, been a long time Blitz player. The only Blitz player to ever make Jinxie do a backflip. Fun fact. There's a ridiculous clip. I don't know if the people know it, but 1v1 on Oregon top floor, which was a hell of a Blitz clip, I gotta say. So Spirits is a lot of history on this operator. He loves to bring it. He's gonna run the Blackbeard today, but obviously we'll see him switching back and forth. This team love their shield, so it's gonna be a constant throughout this series. And I think it's good to hear it from M80, to hear it from their young captain Packer. Talk about that early, address that issue, because even in the first round, it's become apparent that that will be the game plan for Unwanted, and they need to find answers on the side of M80.
Been enjoying the chatter online amongst the NA pros when dissecting both of these teams. I mean, there's a lot of negativity on this M80 roster for a variety of reasons. The key one that tends to come out quite often is that M80 always spends an awful lot of money to assemble these teams.
Yeah.
Especially importing players, and they've never really had the success that they've wanted, and in fact, they've had less success than their contemporaries in North America. You find that with teams like G2, like Falcons, like M80, teams that like to spend an awful lot of money to get big-name players, the moment that they fail to succeed, people come out of the woodwork to put them down. And so you have to go through any criticism of a team like that through that lens, because there's going to be more hate than is necessary. Unwanted, on the other hand, is the plucky underdog at this point in time. People sympathize with the fact they lost their team. People sympathize with the fact that, that they lost some players, and well, despite misgivings when they were on that Beast Coast team, they've become very popular. Hot and Cold with the very first kill. It's the second time Unwanted has drawn first blood. Down goes Spoit. Packer dies shortly thereafter. Another two-player advantage for Unwanted, just as we saw in round number 1.
Great
Two
start.
former Beast Coast players and Kino remain.
Great start by Adam. On the last cast, if you were watching the Joel G2 game, the casters talked about how good Adam has been on this Deimos. Ace and Dez have been covering a lot of these Unwanted games, and Adam has really taken a liking to this operator. Full 2K to start the round here, and there's only 45 seconds left for M80 to hold on to, but this man disadvantage, it is going to be tough. What is the response? Obviously going to be a con-side push. Nobody really in a position to flank on the side of M80. They have one Nitro in the pocket of Kino. They're going to have to play rat spots, and that's exactly why Kino is laying down on this side of this breach. If he's not checked, this could be their chance.
Oh! He'll manage to get it done. Time to pull out the shotgun. He almost botches it. 100% of that shotgun went into the shield originally. The two-tap does work out. Gunner and Diffuser, last two alive. Gunner caught in a compromising position over by the bathroom. Diffuser snapping onto one. Lots of bullets still remain in that Scorpion, and he's doing a great job, but he gets caught as he stands back up, and it's 2 in a row for Unwanted. The brawl inside of the bomb site working out for the attackers.
Let's make plays here.
They got to make some kind of play. They got to make some kind of opening. Both rounds now have been pretty dominant for Unwanted, I got to say. Struggling to see what Kino was doing with the shotgun on the rat play there. He got the first pick, which was great, and then he tried to just finish off the down rather than focusing for the second play. This is a worthwhile attack timeout coming through from Bodega. Obviously, this is a team that wants to see themselves off to a strong start. This is their map pick. They are on the favorable side of defense. Unwanted chose to start attack. I think they know that defense is the stronger side, and I'd expect them to be better on defense. Maybe they think they're a better attacking team on club than they are on defense. But to me, this just seems like a situation where they want to get the hard part out of the way first. Might be able to ask them about it in the interview post-game if they happen to... Well, there's no interview. We're on B-Stream. Never mind. We'll never know.
Doesn't even know where he is.
The point is, M80 gotta turn things around right now. This is really not an acceptable start, especially for an organization who spent a lot of money on players who have high expectations for these guys. This is one of those series where if you lose, question marks start coming up, right? Like, did we get the right players? What's going on? Like, we had our pick of the litter when it came to these guys. And to lose to them now after choosing exactly who you wanted would be embarrassing.
It would be bad.
Embarrassing, to be honest. I don't want to use the word, but I think it's appropriate here. But it's early to start ringing the Doomsday Bell, too, you know? We're 2 rounds in.
Yeah, I don't love the fact that you had to call a timeout this early on. It's not great, but I mean, you don't really have a lot of options if you think your team is in danger of mentally falling behind. M80's fallen behind in terms of just raw numbers, but keep in mind, the coaches can hear things that we can't. We don't really hear the comms inside of the server. We don't hear how teams are talking to each other or how players are handling things. It's tough. You know, it's hard for us to speak with authority on a timeout being called when you don't know why it's being called in the first place.
Bodega, an experienced coach, has obviously been with M80 for the majority of his career, but he's been around the block. Actually was helping to coach that CL for Life roster that Packer was the leader of. You might remember Packer from the Montreal Major.
I remember Packer.
I'm glad that you do. We casted all of his games, I think, in Montreal. On there weren't many. No, they went out 2-0. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to win a game. But still, I mean, M80 saw some promise. Whether that was Bodega from the coaching position or whether that was somebody else, they clearly saw the vision that Packer brings. He's the youngest team captain at this event at only 20 years old, leading such a team with names like Spoit and Gunner. There's a lot of pressure on him, and obviously didn't get off to the greatest start here at the Six Invitational, but he's looking for a bounce back, and I know he's capable of that.
Every time now I see that smoke on the stairs, I always think of that Shopify Rebellion defense where they were able to put the Clash up there and wait it out with the toxic canisters, if you recall. Other teams are not so keen to replicate that.
Diffuser's here with the smoke, if nothing else. I've seen this a lot with smoke play on main stairs.
Clubhouse got a lot of play yesterday, by the way. Almost a 50-50 map, so Unwanted springing out to a 2-0 lead is... I mean, it's not abnormal. I can understand now why, just based on those numbers. M80 would call their timeout. Spoiled another early casualty. Hot and Cold dies not far after, so whatever was gained by that first kill will not gain much more. A Nitro Cell goes out, but it's ripped a bit too early. Kino finds no success with that as Diffuser is taken down on those stairs. Spoit yet to find a kill. Packer still alive. He's yet to find a kill too. Dream right now rocking the perfect 0-0. 0 kills, 0 deaths. This man is just very consistent in what he needs to do. Thing is, the Diffuser has been dropped. Need to be retrieved by one of the attackers. Not the player, the actual kit.
In Moto, by the way. Dropped by Hot and Cold, who went for a very aggressive early drop from Moto. Easily picked up if somebody else drops that hatch. Of course, we've got to commit to that. Very little time.
Yeah. You gotta hope that most of those Goyo canisters have been taken down. Kino falters. The Spirits finds one, Dream another, and it's just a single player left on M80. It's Gunner inside of blue with 1 kill. Gavin dies, but his teammates catch him on the run. And just like that, it's 3-0. Timeout that was called by M80, not immediately helping this team.
It's all smiles for the Orgless team right now. 3-0 up against one of the biggest orgs in Rainbow Six Siege. And I mean, what a great push that was. Hot and Cold very early dropped into the Moto room in the basement. That gave them a pinch on main stairs, which meant that Diffuser's life was very much a foregone conclusion.
We're losing pick by pick.
They're losing a lot of early round picks inside of M80. They need something to go right in the early rounds. There's a full anchor strat coming out from them, hoping to just slow down Unwanted and win in the late round, but it just didn't end up coming through. But a shield play coming out with the Osa last time from Unwanted too, so they're getting value no matter how it happens. They're always managing to find this man advantage and then push into sight with some kind of barrier in front of them. Been a consistent trend so far for Unwanted. Hot and Cold, obviously, getting the entry in that last round, even if it wasn't the main stairs player. One of only 2 players at this Six Invitational who played all the way back in Year 1, Season 1. Hot and Cold and Canadian, of course, are the 2 players who have stuck around since all the way back then. He's played 10 Pro League seasons, 3 Pro League finals, 7 majors, 4 invitationals. This will be his 5th, and he's a CCS champion.
Well, now that you mentioned the last one, I understand the success. Canadian is the only player who's made it to every invitational, by the way. This has been talked about a few times on the broadcast. Quite the staying power from Captain Canada, but Hot and Cold's legacy tends to be ignored for a number of reasons. Unfortunately, it's taken him a long time to become a major champion. finally found that success in Manchester. Incomprehensible victory over BDS when all hope looked lost after that 4th map. But Hutton has been very, very consistent. And he's become a bit of a journeyman, jumping around from team to team, very rarely because he wants to move teams.
Yes.
Been a lot of discussion about him being cut originally from DZ and then also from SSG and how he didn't necessarily want this. What a shot by Adam as he walks up the stairs. And now Spoit needs to move out of his position. 4 rounds in a row where Unwanted has got the very first kill. M80 is constantly fighting from behind. It is so challenging to do this. And when we talk about mental resiliency, it's hard to be resilient mentally when you are constantly having your teammates losing those entry duels, and a lot of times, frankly, losing them without being able to return much gunfire.
I mean, the entries of Unwanted have been absolutely fantastic so far. Gavin, of course, started this game 4-0. Adam as well has been very strong here for Unwanted. So these two players as the primary and secondary entry have been doing an excellent job against a team that many would say are favored when it comes to the raw individual gun skill. Here comes the wall. Can they do any sort of a trick with this mirror window? It doesn't look like it. They won't even go for the pop.
Kino's just very patient in this position. The mirror window does stay intact, albeit broken in its position. Here's a fiber light.
Honestly, didn't read it. Good to get your fiber in, though.
Gotta stay regular, Jesse.
Yeah.
Really helps with gut fauna. That mirror of Spoit still looking for kill number 1. Same with Packer. 2 very highly touted players, and Spoit will have to wait another round as he's gunned down. Now it's Adam looking for another kill. Kino manages to get... No, it's actually Packer who gets it, but Kino still dropped over towards Red. Spirits hunting this bandit, keeping himself alive, but the bandit trying to guard break. Diffuser's last alive. The other 2 players from Unwanted have their work cut out for them. Somehow Diffuser is winning this duel, and it's all up to Gavin now. Where is Unwanted with the Diffuse kit? They are desperately running out of time. Gavin goes for the revive to bait out Diffuser, and it's the right play.
No bullets. Just hide, oh my god.
Mint says what we're all thinking. Just hide, man.
Your shield blocked my bullets. No, man. Is that... What is wrong with that guy?
What is wrong with that guy? Well, that's your former teammate, by the way. Up for contention for Rookie of the Season, too, but makes a fatal blunder in round number 4. Could have just hid down below. The time would have gone their way, but unfortunately chose to take the gunfight, and you never want to take a gunfight up against Gavin. My God, fantastic clutch in the 1v1, and it was getting a little shaky there. It was a 1v3 that was almost tossed out, maybe could have been tossed out. 2 big picks from Diffuser, but it wasn't enough in the end. And Unwanted, I mean, I love that pushing through sight. You saw how the coordination was coming through. Spirits on the Blackbeard and Adam on the Deimos working in tandem to push through construction, push through cash, put themselves into that 3v1 situation. Gavin's so consistent as well. Often an overlooked player. He's played on many top teams. On Dark Zero, he was often overlooked in favor of Pambazoo, their primary entry fragger. Then on Beast Coast, I would say he was also a bit overlooked as a lot of people focused on the 2 players that left the team, Gunner and Diffuser. Gavin is incredibly talented, though. It is insane how underrated he is as an individual. I imagine he's going to keep putting up these numbers throughout the tournament. And a 4-0 start, attacking on your opponent's map pick for Unwanted. It genuinely doesn't get more devastating than this for M80.
Again, because this is a 51-49% map, with 51% of all rounds won by the defenders up to this point, Clubhouse is in the bottom 3 in terms of rounds played at the moment. So we still could see those numbers shift as there are more reps on Clubhouse. It was largely ignored on the first day. Yesterday we saw 3-4 teams play it, if memory serves correctly.
Mm-hmm. It was popular.
It was very, very popular, but yeah, no, I'm just a bit strange to see such an even Clubhouse at this point, Jesse. With those numbers being what they are, though, every single round is winnable just based on statistics. And you could have a 6-0 first half for the attackers, and it wouldn't be that abnormal. It's just M80 have looked lifeless on so many of these rounds. There's no tooth in their roam, if they're roaming at all. They're playing off very limited intel. They're losing gunfights quite often without doing much damage back to Unwanted. Spoit has been irrelevant up to this point. Spoit is usually the most talked about player on this team, for crying out loud. Gavin is just taking no prisoners inside the bomb site. By the way, he's not the only one. Spirits is immediately there for follow-up, but finally M80 is hitting their shots. Kino and Packer with 2 very quick answers back. It's all up to Adam now through Dirt Tunnel. He's lingering in the fire. He doesn't seem to care much about it. And it's the highest rated player heading into this matchup on M80, Kino, who ultimately has the most impactful round for his team. Relief sweeps through the bench of M80 as they finally win a round.
They're on the board, Parker, and that's the first step to getting your feet underneath you in a game like this where the pressure's going to be highest. Such an important game against your former teammates. Kino, some fantastic smoke play down inside of the basement. Often known as one of the best SAS players in the entire world. He was the one that I feel initially started believing in that shotgun more than anybody else. There was a talk on Twitter about how Kino gets shotgun kills on smoke that nobody else would get away with. But he believes in that shotgun more than anybody, and it pays off for him. Great smoke play down in the basement. Of course, 3 big picks to stop that rush from Unwanted. They saw that there were a couple of roamers. They saw that, Spoit was playing top floor off on a roam. Even Packer was roaming a bit inside of Kitchen. I want to give Packer some credit for making it back to site so quickly. He found one important pick early in that rush, which started to slow things down for Unwanted. Given how Spoit's been playing, it might have been the better call to fight that roam head on. Might have walked away with it, but it didn't end up happening. Instead, they went straight for the site, and that's going to be a bit of a cheese play from Unwanted that does not pay off. If they reset things and play a more standard game of Siege here now on CCTV Cash, I'd expect this to go a bit better for them. A 5-1 half would be devastating, but as you mentioned, momentum might be starting. Here comes a bandit trick attempt.
Dream obviously worried about a run out from Garage. No Claymores brought on the board for Unwanted, and no anti-flank operators like a Gridlock or a Nomad for you to deal with, so just got to keep an eye on it yourself, or maybe have somebody sit on a drone for the time being. While Unwanted waits to open up the main wall into CCTV, it's Jacuzzi that will be focus number 1. Less contention there from the defenders, one of whom, Gunner, is posted up very close to that Jacuzzi breach. Diffuser dies at the hands of Hot and Cold, and every single round we have seen First Blood now get drawn by this Unwanted team, except for the last round. That's the only one. M80 did draw First Blood in the last round, though it was a very quick trade, so nothing was really gained for it, but everybody in the server died with the same 20 seconds.
Yeah, and those opening picks are really important. M80 currently lead the tournament in opening pick conversions. They have an 80% win rate when they get that opening pick for the first 2 games, so obviously for M80 to give those up to Unwanted, that's a devastating blunder, and they've done it again here in round number 6.
Gavin's been dropped and gets finished off by Kino. That's really on the Blackbeard of Spirits to not be close enough. Almost blows himself up with his own grenade as well as it got stuck on some of the debris. Now it's Packer to retake Red Stairs. Spirits taken out by Kino. This is a much better take from M80. Though I gotta say, Unwanted did just storm the bomb site. Good attempt by Hot and Cold, but he's kind of left hat in hand inside of construction. Spoit with a 2K to seal the deal. You said a comeback might be brewing. Well, it's 2 rounds in a row now for M80.
Yeah, and good from Kino again on the anchor position, getting 2 really important picks up against that. Again, it's like a site-focused rush from Unwanted. Last 2 rounds, they tried that style of a push, and it didn't really work out for them. 4-2 half, I would still say, favors the Orgless team, but at least there's some life in M80. Managed to stop that rush attempt. And finally, they deny a conversion, too. It's 5 opening picks, and they converted 4 of them, so that's actually right in line with the 80% conversion rate that they've had so far. So they're nothing if not consistent on the side of Unwanted. Kino's been fantastic throughout all this tournament. He is the oldest player on this young team at just 22 years old. At the last Six Invitational, Kino was signed to M80, but he was benched. And I remember I was on the desk for that Six Invitational. Kino was often out in the viewing area for the group stage games, where the analysts, myself included, would often watch the game. So I got to watch a lot of the games kind of beside Kino and with Kino, and obviously he would much rather have been playing, but right after that event, obviously M80 lost every game. They took him off the bench, and I think that was a pretty good decision given how he's played for them all season long, and especially at this event.
No, I mean, there was talk during our storyline meeting that we did before a single game was played about this M80 team, because they are a bit of an enigma, right? I mean, you've got Diffuser and Gunner who looked exceptional at that Manchester Major, but then beyond that, I think it's fair to say that Gunner's actually had a very average career. When he was on Sonics, he tended to be towards the bottom of the team. Now, I think there was an argument about how he was deployed as a player.
Sure.
Sure enough, but the results are that Gunner was an average player. He found a lot of success in Manchester. Diffuser obviously making his debut. People were quite high on him as well. But this C9 Beast Coast team were unable to replicate that same success, and both Gunner and Diffuser kind of came back down to earth. When they were picked up by this M80 team, people thought, okay, well, now they're going to be unleashed. Now we're going to see their full potential. And I mean, it's still entirely possible. But the one player that always seems to get overlooked is Kino, because he got dogged on for his shield play on M80, and honestly, rightfully so. He was not a very good Monty, and there was a lot of ink spilt about how he could improve. Kino's playing with more confidence. He's back to his old ways, especially as a defender. He is excelling, and it is good to see him flourishing in his role, and came in, actually, as the 5th highest-rated player at this event. Spoit's having a really rough game. Both of his kills, Jesse came in the previous round. He now dies early. Not the only hard breacher, so you don't have to worry about that. Still have on the board of Packer, as Kino manages to leap through that gas. Look at all this fighting going on around Strip. They're all trying to hunt down Hot and Cold.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a kill if they commit all the resources, but it's like, how long is it going to take? And will he take one more with him? Already took down Spoit, the entry fragger of M80. Can he do even more damage? Captain of Unwanted.
Like, look at all this time that they're wasting.
Yep, exactly.
Excellently done by Hot and Cold. At that position, you know you're effectively playing to die. If you can take one person down and escape from Strip, then that's good. But if you die, you die. That's a sacrifice Unwanted is willing to make. There go Candelas. Kino only used one earlier, so there's 3 that can be dumped inside the bomb site. They will go out a flash as well, as Packer's looking for a drop into the oh-so-familiar spot. Down goes Gavin as Packer finally hits the dirt. Spirits with 1. Adam dies. Packer catches Dream coming out of Dirt Tunnel. It's all up to Spirits to clutch. He manages to drop Diffuser. Now it's Kino in hot pursuit over by Church. A secure onto this kill. Kino now taking some damage. Packer also very hurt. This is winnable for Spirits. He might actually be able to find Packer, but Kino saves the round. 3 in a row for M80. The side swap not slowing down their momentum one bit. And they're a single round away from tying the game.
It was a good start from Hot and Cold. He did waste a ton of time over by Strip, and he stopped the entry from Spoit. I should say, by the way, Spoit, prior to this game, was undefeated on attacking entry fights. He had not lost a single opening gunfight on the offensive side. That will change, of course, with this previous round, but it didn't matter. The execute was so good from M80. They had those Candelas coming in from Kino from Blue. That was a huge distraction play that came down, and then just a classic diffuse kit drop inside a kitchen, down into the armory. The players of Unwanted just a little bit caught off guard, a little bit distracted in that chaos, and they weren't able to keep their eyes on the prize. Dirt Tunnel player going down to the diffuse kit drop from Packer was massive too.
I mean, you couldn't keep your eyes on that drop, right? M80 were so synchronized with the way that they went about that.
They were.
Usually, if Dream is inside a Dirt Tunnel, the way for him to get out is to kill Packer so that you can then immediately pivot out of Dirt Tunnel and maybe put somebody else in that position, but obviously that was not something that could happen. Gavin died, and then immediately there was pressure also put on Blue, which paralyzed this Unwanted defense. M80 working in lockstep. And I say all this because in a regular round, that would be impressive. But after spending a minute and a half with Hot and Cold flitting around in Strip, it's even more impressive that M80 were able to then pivot, link up, and pull off their execute in stride. And honestly, that's the type of thing that we expect from a team with the skill that M80 has. A couple more rounds like that, they can very easily regain some momentum here. I think at this point they've got momentum. They've yet to lead. Gunner's looking for...
What are we doing?
Gunner's looking for a lineup.
I don't know what the purpose of that was.
It
It didn't even go off.
Are we stupid?
I mean, he can on sends now, activate that to go up and down as he pleases. Yep. Oh, well, here's the rush.
There we go. That was the idea. Okay. Spoit is in. Blackbeard is in. Kino dies. Spoit is not far removed with the shotgun chaos inside of the bomb site. Diffuser with a kill on the hot and cold. Unwanted now, fighting from behind. A very attacker-sided Clubhouse. Right now, the defenders have their work cut out for them. Deimos Deathmark to go on to Gavin as somebody's outside. Gunner's there, prepared and ready. M80 slaughtering Unwanted. 4 rounds in a row by Unwanted to start this map. M80 does the exact same thing.
Come on,
When do you call
Parker.
your time out of your Unwanted? Well,
Right now.
Apparently right now.
Right now.
Apparently right now.
Well, they'll have a talk through because they've lost 4 rounds in a row now, from 4-0 to 4-4. And finally, we get some life out of William. Spoit's had a bit of a rough start this game, but he comes in for a 2K on the Amaru shotgun play. Honestly, still don't really know what was going on with that initial sends wall, but the second sends wall that came out into the site was perfect to come through. I believe that was from Gunner. Spoit then was a distraction, or was a real surprise play up through the gym hatch too. It's really one of those pocket strats that M80 came up with. And I would imagine a strat that was not devised on that Unwanted squad before Gunner and Diffuser made the swap over, because it really did feel like they got caught off guard by it. Need to lock in a little bit here for Unwanted. This really has become a game. It feels like every round that M80 have won has been more and more impressive. Like the first 2 rounds they won on their defenses, I felt like Unwanted went for kind of very direct, not gimmicky, but shortcut style pushes. And M80 just had good anchor play, specifically from Kino. Then round 3 was very impressive on that execute, despite the early round fumbles. And then round 4 was flawless. You know, pocket strap for sure. It's going to be hard to get away with that one twice, but regardless, no issues from M80 on that most recent round. So they are heating up, and this is getting better and better for the guys in green. 3 rounds are all that separate both teams now from that 7-X scoreline. But if Unwanted can get their heads together after that tack timeout, I mean, you've got to imagine we're headed close to an overtime.
We're careening towards M80 winning the whole thing.
Yeah, if they can't stop this momentum, for sure.
Timeout, mind you, that M80 took did not immediately work. It took 2 more rounds after that. Called it very early on, tail end of that second round, that, hey, something is seriously wrong. We need to sort this one out. Gunner's already in strip on Nook. Could he manage to catch these players off guard? That is the question. Is that a great operator to do it?
Hunting hot and cold at the moment. His former captain.
They're worried about a play from strip, though, and they barricaded the door on Pool, so... Oh, no. Oh, no, Houghton.
Careful.
Oh, no, Houghton. I would love to see that reaction. He takes time to type in chat. Of course. Houghton's not a very emotive man. Very subdued, very low-key. I can imagine it would go like this. Oh, come on, man. This is my hot and cold reaction.
That was good. That was a good impression.
Thank you. I've been working on it. Big first blood, though, for M80. As I mentioned earlier, Unwanted has drawn first blood in every round except for round number 5, and that was amidst the chaos where there were multiple trades back and forth. So technically, only Unwanted has been able to get that first blood and use it to their advantage. This is the first time all game that M80 will have some breathing room in terms of player count. It's very important. EMPs will go off on the wall. No bandit tricking to be had. Adam has been pushed out of that position. Not just because the wall was opened up, but there was gunfire from below that he had to worry about.
We need these Selmas to open the main wall. Obviously, Packers here waiting for that. There are Electric Claws and Bandit batteries. There could be a trick attempt here, as I believe Adam is in position to go for a trick. Of course, these Thatcher EMPs, they won't be enough. They choose the left wall first, so I think they will get that left wall if nothing else open. And Adam, yeah, don't try that. No time.
Adam, no. Get yourself out of harm's way. Dream eliminates Kino. Packer swings through and takes care of Dream. Now there's Spoit inside the site, swatted down by Adam, who's then immediately traded out by Diffuser. Neither of these teams are escaping with their lives intact. Spirits on the wrong side of those trades, though, and will now give up the Ghost. As he picks away at the Nook of Gunner, giving Diffuser time to get into position, and now it's 5 in a row for M80.
Yes! Every fucking rock out, let's go!
Nothing is slowing down this M80 team at the moment. Nothing.
We can hear our coach.
Listen, that was a great push. Obviously not a flawless. They did lose bodies. But the trade game was perfect from M80. Every single time someone died, there was an immediate answer. They worked together coming in through that con side of things. Obviously, Gunner getting a second big pick down below was hugely impactful. You saw Kino was kind of the front man getting to the bomb site, but immediately after he died, the fuse kit was picked up and his body was traded out as Dream died top red. And continuation of that trade game just went on and on and on, and M80 always held that man advantage, of course, coming off of that opening pick down inside a strip, too. Perfectly played on that execute, and that's now 5 in a row as M80 are looking better and better. Impressive coordination in that last round, and that was kind of the one point where you're looking at this team like, are they going to have that team play? Are they going to have that coordination? Because yes, Spoit and Kino have teamed together for a long time. Yes, Gunner and Diffuser have teamed together for a long time. But there's not been much overlap other than that. This team was assembled just a couple of months ago to make the run at the biggest tournament of the year. And nobody was doubting if they had talent. Nobody was doubting that Gunner, Spoit, Diffuser were all talented. Spoit? Is he trying to shoot a default cam and he stepped right in front of him? That's your Blackbeard that you just took out, Spoit. He's laughing about it, but that's a hindrance.
I have an idea here.
Yeah?
So during operator pick, Packer, Spoit, and Kino all have the M80 background. Gunner and Diffuser do not. Is this just a ploy from Unwanted for Gunner and Diffuser to be secret agents activated to doom M80 and make it a 3v7?
That would be a scandal.
Spoit knows now. How funny would it be if that was Gunner dying? Gunner does die. It's on cold. Not to his own teammate, though. The advantage goes for Unwanted, not by really any of their own efforts. That team kill's quite unfortunate for M80. I mean,
Packer. There you go.
Hit that one. No way. What a terrible round for M80.
Yeah.
Just about everything that could go wrong has gone wrong up to this point. Spirits died. He must be sitting on the sidelines enjoying the show. We have half the round still left to play. You know, you can't do anything about those X-Kairos, my friend. Like, why can't you just pick up the launcher and just do it yourself?
You know, just entered the building as his final teammate died, by the way.
He's got tons of time.
Yeah, he's got the fuse kit, but I'm still going to call this an impossible 1v4, even if for his Scandelas, there's a Warden on the board.
Would you say that M80 got first kill there because Sport team killed Diffuser? Do you think that's entirely possible?
I count that as an opening pick for Unwanted in my stats, because they got the first advantage. They were in the 5v4. Nobody gets credit for the opening pick, though.
We know what to do for Jim. We know what to do.
On our stats, it actually updated as the opening kill is actually for Spoit, which is very funny.
All right, well, technically correct. We'll give him the opening pick.
Not really correct, but technically correct.
The impact wasn't the same as a normal opening pick, but technically he did grab that. So congratulations to Spoit, patting those stats as we want to see him doing. Yeah, disaster round, as you said, Parker. Everything that could go wrong.
Pretty horrible round. And think about it. You've just won 5 rounds in a row. You've forced Unwanted to take a timeout.
Yep.
And then you give them the easiest round of the game.
Yeah, that's nice to see. It came at an important time, too. That guarantees that we'll have at least 12 rounds in this matchup. We will get, at minimum, full regulation. At maximum, overtime is looking more and more likely. All Unwanted have to do is force one more win. We heard Gunner say it in between rounds. They know what to do on Jim. They won't be doing the same thing on Jim. I'm not seeing an Amaru in the hands of Spoit. I'm not seeing the Sens, so it's not going to be the classic rush play that we saw the last time that worked so well. Despite it being a good push, you generally don't see teams going for gimmick strats like that more than once because it will get read into. It will be expected by Unwanted. Instead, it's a standard, classic cash extension clear. Kino's going to get the main wall. Somebody might come in through rafters. That could be Spoit. he gets a good angle on the ace when he does this. And they will attempt to clear these extended players. It's going to be Gavin playing inside of Cash. And then Adam not too far away in Con as well.
Gunner and Diffuser, by the way, are playing very high-value ops here on this team. And I mean, that's the role that they play on, but M80 obviously feels confident in having those operators in their hands. Right now, Diffuser and Gunner are combined 19 kills. That's quite the tally through 11 rounds, and Diffuser didn't even get to play the previous round, if you recall. M80 looking for a good bounce back here after fumbling the ball on their own 5-yard line.
They've given up con control really fast on the side of Unwanted. I thought maybe Gavin was going to stick around, take some gunfights. Maybe Adam could support, but they both said, nah, we see a Blackbeard, we'll let you have it. Could come back to bite them late rounds. Uncold was hiding as well in the prep phase too, trying to avoid the drone, so they may not know that there's a Valkyrie lurking down below. Keep an eye out for that as we get towards the end of this round.
Time we saw Unwanted deal with this bomb site, it was kind of chaotic, kind of messy. As for the way that M80 is going to approach this, I suspect we'll see one person over towards construction. Spoit's already cleared through Cash, so he'll be able to move up.
Yep.
Packer's hunting down below just in case somebody is playing beneath the bomb site, which is the right read. Uncold has favored this bar portion of the map. He did so playing just a few rounds ago when it was Gunner killed him when he wasn't expecting it over towards the pool table. Uncold on that Valkyrie means he will have a Nitro cell, so he can upend the plant as it comes alive. Spoit dies early yet again. Down goes Houghton and Gavin, and the Diffuser gets planted underneath the noses of Unwanted. Winner of this round goes to map point. Now, if you're Unwanted, you got to fight yourselves out of this position. And because you've been a little bit slow, you've allowed M80 to vacate the bomb site. They're far enough back where you are going to be wandering into their lines of sight. They are the ones with the established hold at the moment. Packer and Gunner, 2 swift kills. Spirit's looking for at least one. He hops out, takes care of Diffuser, but that's all she wrote. Imagine what would have happened if in the previous round, M80 had not committed that error themselves. Imagine what would have happened. This map could be over. You kick yourself for it. It's good that both Diffuser and Spoit laughed it off.
Yeah.
They've been able to maintain good mental momentum. Can't say the same for this Unwanted team. There's some long faces on all 5 of these player cams.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, other than that round, not the one we just watched, but you know what I mean when I say that round, M80 have been perfect on these attacks. They've been looking really well coordinated, and they've not been relying on the standard players to just pop off. It's not like it's Spoit who's just running the show and carrying M80. No, it's everybody else who's really coming together and making these executes look so easy. Unwanted, there's no reaction to that plant going down. The game plan was, okay, we're going to stop a plant by having Hot and Cold go down below, but that was red. Packer, the IGL on that bottom floor, had the read on Hot and Cold, and as you mentioned, Houghton's been playing below quite often in and around bar. Gunner got the read on it earlier. It's not really been working for Hot and Cold, so you again think back, maybe the players on Unwanted know some of the, or the players on M80 know some of the tendencies of Hot and Cold and the other former teammates. That's going to be read into every single time from M80, and they've done a really good job of countering that when they've seen it, when they've seen those opportunities. So a good gym-focused plant, and now we will go to the final round in regulation. Kino's jumping on the glass. In my opinion, Parker, Kino is the best sniper player in the world. He plays a ton of Collie. He plays a ton of Glaz. They have been his most played operators. He actually has played more rounds on Glaz than any other op at the event so far. He's got a great win rate of over 60% with it, too. Yes. Watch out for this.
Quite the huck, by the way, of the EMP. Adam only has one opportunity to bandit trick. A single Selma will go off. So you lose if you're the attackers. One of those can openers. You lose a single Selma. Another EMP is primed and ready from Packer. Way downtown, not getting himself anywhere near close to this bomb site. The Selma will go off. At that point, Adam would not want to bandit trick in the slightest. So he peels off at this position. Is Kino going to fall victim to something that we've seen through a lot of players, which is that you move too much as Glaz and you lose the ability to see through the smoke?
He knows too good at glass. He knows what he's doing. He's
He's-
moving a little bit, but he could still see the outlines if he pops his head up.
I think Kino's one of the best sniper players in the world.
Yeah.
Diffuser takes down Spirits. M80 have been held off of the first blood sheet an awful lot. And unless it's killing their own player, they haven't been able to get one in a number of minutes. Gunners lost a bit of HP, but right now the advantage is for M80 on their own map. Unwanted have won 4 of their 5 rounds in the first 15 to 20 minutes of this map. Since then, it's basically been M80 in the driver's seat. Even the lone round after that Unwanted won, it was because M80 committed a team kill right at the beginning. And honestly, just seemed to throw in the towel at that point. You lose your Blackbeard. So much of your offense, so much of your strategy is just gone. They filtered in one by one, got picked off. It was a terrible round for M80, but again, it was their own fault. Now, with just under a minute to go, what is M80 to do? They've lost Kino. Hot and Cold's got one. He's now down in Oil Pit, and he could surprise Diffuser as well. But Diffuser's attention is on the bomb site and not the flank. Houghton could pick up a second kill. Diffuser making an awful racket, and now Houghton moves over towards Lounge. Dream on the board this round, with Gunner falling. Gavin also on the board. All 3 kills from Unwanted coming from different players. But hold on a second, M80's now made it into the bomb site. Diffuser and Packer with 2 very fast kills. Hot and Cold isolated off site. Where is Dream? Down below with a Nitro Cell to try and stop this plant in its tracks. It does some damage to Diffuser, but M80 stays alive. Now the retake. From the bottom floor, up to the middle floor, up to the top. Diffuser catches Hot and Cold. Dream? A dream to be had? No, a nightmare in that round. Packer with the final kill. What a tremendous bounce back from M80. 7-5. They don't even need overtime to win Clubhouse. Started off scary. On their own map, they had to call a timeout. After round number 2, they found their groove. They win.
Pop off like they just won the Six Invitational. This is an important game for them, not only for the grudge match, but also given how they started 0-4 down, proving not just to themselves, but to the world that they are not out at any point in these matches. We're going to have a series on our hand, Parker.
We absolutely are. At least one more map remains, but maybe we go all the way. We'll find out in a few minutes.
Tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Hey, tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel it? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up on my pallet. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Hey, tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
It's about time.
One more song. You choose.
I've got just the one.
And now with 24 seconds left to go, Loira has to make a deep rotation, finding Wonder on the J1 a shot, and this is why he's the demon. Loira finding 3!
Low HP bodies on each respective side. Uno, he's getting aggressive. That's the pressers, Dome. It might help you out a little bit, but oh my god! Good for one here, and should be onto Bowen. Getting that plant down. Alum out to the bottom. For the yellow pig as well! Yay for Alum!
The Psycho Kid as well. They're just pushing for the fight. He's on the back end. But one versus one with a demon!
Excellent patience here from CAG. Shuri holding it down, taking some damage. Blaz sticking the plant, not falling off. He commits, and Shuri gets the down. Go to, so why not? Oh!
And if the overextension comes in from Lender, he might get a chance. Can he hit his shots? Yes! Lands the first, hits the second.
Do not die. Don't give them the 1v1. Oh, what have you done? You've died. C4 goes in.
Do at this point. He can converge on his position. He's got to be ready for this. The ace has got a whip. He somehow does. Can finish this. Surely land the C4.
But shut down now by Newers. Wary about these frost mats that could be sitting under the windows as well as this angle below gym wall. Newers now the last man standing. He's good for 4 as well as the ace.
Two people have to come here and nothing to respond from Fatal. But can they get the case back down? Gomez taking a fight. He can hide. The case going back down though. He can run back up on it. Skimsy isn't alive any longer.
It looked like Unwanted had everything they wanted in the matchup until a turn took place at the tail end of the first half. And then it was M80's game from there on out. After Unwanted screamed out to his 4-0 start, it was 7-1 in round count over the next 8 rounds. And M80 takes it in that only round that was won by Unwanted, Jesse. You could argue was a major gift from M80 after a terrible team kill onto one of the most important operators on the side of M80. What a match for a team that took some time to find their groove.
Yeah, good that we saw M80 getting back into it after those first 4 disastrous rounds from them. Managed to bring this one back, win it 7-5, as you said, and especially important because that was their map pick. You need to see M80 going off to a strong start on Clubhouse when they went for it and chose this map. That is the 3rd time in a row over the last 6 months that M80 have beaten this Unwanted team on that map. The previous 2 times, of course, coming with slightly different rosters back in the NAL Stage 2. But still, the trend remains where M80 are dominant on Clubhouse, and Gunnar will be our MVP for that matchup. Really did start lighting it up towards that second half. You saw his plays on Nook down on that bottom floor were hugely impactful. Diffuser as well. Maybe there's something to the fact that they're playing their old teams, but they are both fired up and ready for this matchup. They certainly showed it on the scoreboard today.
I mean, obviously the results tell you that one team's going to be happy and one team's not. There's not much to gain for this, but when the matchup ends, the teams tend to end up by our door where we cast.
Yeah.
And just going off of energy, vibes, etc., Unwanted seemed quite frustrated Understandably so. You're up 4-0. Mentally, you're thinking, okay, this is a cakewalk. We've got this one locked down. M80 are jovial. They're in great spirits. They're laughing. They're joking around, etc. You know, not a single bad thing was said by that M80 team. Based on the scoreline, that's pretty normal. But if Unwanted cannot shake that negativity out of their head, you risk going into the second map. And if things blow up in the first or second round, it's real tough for you to gain that mental ground back if you're already going in a little bit flustered. Nighthaven Labs will play out differently from Clubhouse, but there are a lot of similarities between these maps. Number one, attacking some of the bomb sites on Clubhouse, very standardized, very similar to Nighthaven Labs. Nighthaven Labs also has that entire portion of the garage and catwalk that is almost as if it was just plucked out of Clubhouse and put into Nighthaven Labs. And with the way teams approach it, it's very similar. It really will depend on which operators are banned. If a zombie squeaks through the operator ban phase, then Labs will be played completely different than if she doesn't. But there are similarities here. Even though it's Unwanted's map, it's a little bit worrisome with the way that they played on Clubhouse.
Yeah, you're not wrong. These are maps that play quite similar. They're both very util-focused, some really important walls on both maps, so it should be interesting to see how that plays out. Unwanted chose this map, not because they are aficionados at Nighthaven Labs, but because M80 have a horrible record on this map. They're on a 4-game losing streak on Nighthaven, most recently losing to Luminosity 7-3, losing to SSG 7-2, losing to Oxygen 7-2s. Those aren't just losses to middling teams, frankly, especially with Luminosity not making it to this event, but those are really dominant scorelines for their opponents, and so Unwanted are going to be wanting to read into that. I will say the only time that Unwanted have played this map recently was at the Montreal Major, where they had Montreal Major qualifiers, where they had an 8.
Did they make it there?
They didn't. They had an 8-7 loss to CL for Life, whose captain now plays for M80. And we talk a lot about how, Gunner and Diffuser are the former teammates of Hot and Cold Spirits and Gaveni, but at the same time, Adam is the former teammate of Packer. And so on that first map, maybe we saw these teams read into each other a little bit for the star players with Gunner and Diffuser. We might see a bit more of a read where Adam is starting to read into Packer, Packer's starting to read into Adam. We could see these players start to have really hot games on Nighthaven.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like M80 needed some time to wake up and gel as a roster. It happened, then they started playing their own game. That was great. Obviously, the side swap made a huge difference on it too, Jesse.
Yeah.
What happens on Nighthaven Labs? M80 will be banning first. Ignore the screen. It is M80 with first and last bans. Defenders always ban first.
Correct.
But right now, there's currently a bug, which shows the orange team always banning first. M80 take care of the blitz.
Yeah.
Not really a surprise.
No, they typically ban Dokkaebi on this map, but again, against Unwanted, they're going to be perma-banning shields all stage long, all series long, so there goes the blitz. Thinking maybe a Ying. It's going to be Maverick again. They really don't like this operator. Bandit on map number 1, and honestly, it's really powerful on this map for the basement. Maybe a Valk here. It's really hard to predict Unwanted bans because they just haven't played this map in forever. They will take Tuberau, which is often been M80's ban actually on this map. I would expect an Azami to follow this up. It could be a Valkyrie as well, but you talked about how strong that op was on the rafters. But she'll be left up, so will Valkyrie. Kaid instead taken off the board. It's going to be really easy to get walls open with both Kaid and Tuberau banned out. The only thing you've really got to worry about now are those bandit tricks. So with 2 electricity kind of wall denial operators taken off the board, that should be a little bit simpler. Mute can deny walls too, and we'll see both Mute and Bandit being brought for the first round of this series, but typically that is Bandit's domain, stopping those walls from getting opened. We're going to be able to get any tricks off of. That's going to be the main question through this first round.
There's very limited bandit tricking that we saw on Clubhouse, by the way.
Yeah.
And I mean, that goes down to a couple things. Number one, certain teams don't set up their defenses so that they can bandit trick. Sometimes they set them down just as passive gadgets and then play farther back. Other times, it might be pressure from the attackers down below. You might get shot at if there's a Zofia on the board, if there's an Ashe on the board, if there's explosives. Obviously, it used to be grenades. You can't cook the grenades any longer. So if you're worried about being damaged from below, then you can fall off even if the attempt is there to go for a bandit trick. Some particular reason we have a rehost. I'm not sure why, when not a single player had moved. Hearing that it's a drone bug actually as the culprit. There it is.
Drone bug. It would have been an unwanted drone bug. They started an attack, so it's not an M80 drone bug. For those keeping count. That's okay, though. It should be pretty quick to reset the server. That's the nice thing about being on LAN, right? You can very quickly get the players back in, so I wouldn't expect a long delay at the moment. Is there anything exciting going on the A stream, Parker? Because here on the group stage of Six Invitational, we do have 2 games going on at once.
Simultaneously, some would say, if that's the word that we want to use here. Yes, there is. On the other stream, it is PSG Talon versus Dark Zero. That group has been all over the place. And Dark Zero has had some very pronounced struggles. All of North America, in fact, had quite a lot of struggles on day 1. Then they had a very good day on day 2. They split the difference yesterday, and now today, well, it's anybody's game. OXG is going to be playing later in the day. Shopify Rebellion is going to be playing later in the day. And despite having 5 representatives at this event, they have not been the most dominant region. Obviously, one of these 2 NA teams will need to win. M80 and Unwanted will at least give the region 1 victory today. Yep. But over on the A stream, Dark Zero and PSG Talon are currently doing battle with one another. Dark Zero had a bad first map. Took them quite some time to find their footing, just as we saw with M80. The difference is that M80 was able to catch themselves before map 1 ended. Dark Zero were not quite so successful. Significantly better performance on map number 2. That means we're in map 3. Ooh. Spoilers ahead for the next 10 seconds. PSG Talon is currently sitting on series point.
Really?
So, if PSG Talon win this next round, or the round after, because it is currently 6-4, meaning that DZ will need to win 2 rounds in order to provoke overtime, PSG Talon will win. PSG Talon desperately need to get out of the basement of their group. The only real movement to do that is going to come in this game for them. They were off yesterday, if memory serves correctly.
Yeah.
It's been a rough go for some of these teams. Dark Zero, I think, failing a lot of people's expectations.
Yeah, they've been all over the place, though, right? I mean, they had some big wins early in the tournament, too. Dark Zero seemingly kind of crazy. They have 2 wins at the moment. This is their last game. Dark Zero are off tomorrow. They beat Falcons. They beat BDS, which surprised a lot of people, but they lost their opening game against Raza Company Academy, which you and I casted.
Which game? Because we've casted all of them.
We have casted every single Raza game.
Every Raza Company Academy.
They're off tomorrow. They'll play the Falcons. I don't think we're casting them tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we're not. So
I mean, they're off today.
Yes, they're off today. Raza Company are. So they've been fantastic. A lot of people didn't really have high expectations for them. A lot of people didn't have high expectations for Unwanted either, who have also been fantastic. A lot of the orgless teams here at the Six Invitational, people didn't have high expectations for, and I think that's reasonable, given that they do not have an organization. But 2 of the 3 orgless teams that we've had have performed very well. Raza Company topping the group in the moment. Unwanted in a position where they could top their group as well. And Team Joel, I'm hearing some commotion.
I think based on the sounds I just heard, I know what happened in the other game, but we will await the call.
Sounds like someone might have just toppled Dark Zero.
I'm not sure if it's live. No, and we are getting confirmation. Spoilers. PSG Talon have defeated Dark Zero in their matchup. What exactly does that mean for the standings in their group? Well, we will have the desk on the A stream actually go over that, because here we are on the B stream, still waiting to get back into the match.
Russian Alfama, two of our top European analysts going over that. And you can see the 2 players, obviously, they're the 4 teams playing at the same time, are all in the same room. So after a game, some congratulations going out, the 2 underdogs, Unwanted, giving some congratulations to PSG Talon.
I mean, M80 is going to have to speedrun this map if they want to continue to be so far ahead of the A stream. The A stream's first game just ended. We are a second map into our second game. Why is that, you might ask? Well, if you didn't tune into the map before this, it was a longer drawn-out affair between M80 and Unwanted, and even though it went the distance, all 12 rounds, they got a serious boost by the fact that G2 slaughtered Team Joel. Team Joel is one of those lack of organization teams that we talked about, unaffiliated, no org. They used to be Bleed. Raza Company Academy used to be Team E1, for those that have not been following along. Raza Company Academy's been doing very well.
They're good.
I think they're a good team.
For sure.
Curious to see what happens in Brazil after SI, because I believe it was Vivo Keydstars just announced they dropped the entire roster except for STEM.
Okay. Interesting.
There's going to be some good players available, even though Vivo Keydstars has not exactly had the same success as some of the other top teams in Brazil. The thing with Brazil is that there's usually always at least one good player on every single team.
Yeah.
Brings about the fans to turn around and say, well, free so-and-so, get so-and-so some help. Yeah. See if any of the players on that Vivo Keydstars roster will be desirable enough to get picked up. Whether Raza Company Academy will find themselves a proper organization. And I say this because while Raza is great, he is ultimately a streamer. It's not a proper organization.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice that he's been able to support the players here. I know Raza was helping out them with their jerseys and with their visas, and they all got here on time, so that is thankful. But we do have the return of our All-American matchup, of course. M80 Unwanted. Top floor is going to be our goal, and I talked about how important it would be for Gunnar to get some bandit tricks on. That'll be impossible with Hot and Cold down below on the Zofia. At least it should be, and it will be, as Gunnar is forced back thanks to that Zo.
Gunnar was thinking about it.
He was.
But the logic bombs and the Zofia from down below is enough to scare most people. Speaking of scaring, oh my. Gunnar gets almost pancaked by Spirits as the Blackbeard charges through the wall. Gunnar gets the last laugh on that one. Hot and Cold trades off one player on his own, and that's Kino. Heading into this series, Kino the top-rated player on this M80 squad. Kino was towards the bottom of map number 1, despite M80's success. The only player, funny enough, that dropped below Kino was Spoit, which is very odd, given what we've seen of Spoit. Spoit is extraordinarily good, very mechanically gifted, very talented. For him to go 4-8, I think was the ending scoreline, if memory serves correctly, is unusual. If Kino, or if Spoit rather, is unable to have that success on this map as well, I think that's a worrying sign for M80. They are playing on Unwanted's territory at the moment. Spoit will guard that upstairs rafters. We talked about Azami being unbanned.
Yeah.
What that would look like, and well, you literally see a visual representation of it. Lots of coverage for this Rafters player.
Yeah, Spoit's built a fortress up here top Rafters. That's going to be very tough for them to try to break through. Dream's got that goal, though. He's coming up to the garage window. They've got players over by IT as well. Got drones on it, too. Here comes the air jab. Could be a free pick, but Spoit should hear that, so he won't be pushing out. And actually, okay, triggers, but nothing off of it. Here comes the push. It is going to be focused around Rafters.
Spoit still has some Kiba barriers in back pocket because he hasn't been tested up on that spot, so he'll give himself a bit of a safer place to play inside of the sights. Huge from Spoit, collecting one. Hot and Cold out duels him. Adam is there as well. It's a 2v2 with very little time left. Gunnar surprising them, coming back to the site, and now Adam has to find 2 kills. Won't even find one. M80 seemingly hasn't lost any of their energy or their enthusiasm. From the previous map, they take their very first round here on Nighthaven Labs.
And let me tell you, man, Gunnar is a playmaker. That's the thing. We saw it back during the Manchester Major when Gunnar was playing. Particularly, there's a moment that stands out against FaZe Clan where he was a rat player inside of reading. He's really, really good at identifying opportunities, finding moments, finding weaknesses on the other team, and really exploiting it, especially on the defense. You saw it there. While he was forced off the bandit trick, he immediately dropped the hatch, and then I think was going to try to disrupt maybe the Zofia that was down below. He ended up finding the Blackbeard of Spirits instead. Had a fantastic read on that, answered with a Nitro Cell. There was no help for Spirits, and Spirits knew that if he pulled down that shield, he'd get shot in the head by Gunnar with that slow ADS time on Blackbeard. So there was really nothing Spirits could have done there. Out-dueled by Gunnar, and then, of course, going for that late round flank around Rafters, too. Got to give credit to Spoit for slowing down that push, being such a nuisance to deal with on that Azami, but it was Gunnar that kind of put the final nail in the coffin. And in that 2v2, I often am not a fan of those straight-up IT garage pushes because there's really hard to find a plant spot. Oftentimes, you won't have cleared out the back of both bomb sites, and so you've got to travel quite a ways to get the defuse kit on the ground. Unwanted couldn't find a plant spot, and of course, that flank, just the final nail in the coffin. So good start from Gunnar. He was, I believe, the MVP in the last map, continuing that streak here on map number 2.
Yeah, almost losing the duel to the Blackbeard. That's a scary sight, a tough predicament to find yourself in, and I think he wrapped up exactly why he was so formidable, and When you run at a time, as Unwanted did on their execute, you pay no attention to those players that are off-site looking to come back and do some damage. Gunnar is just that player. And I mean, like I said, while his stats on Sonics were quite average, sometimes skewing towards the bottom, we saw what his potential could be. He was the MVP of the Manchester Major when they won that major championship. Gunnar's got a good team around him. He can do some big damage. And honestly, I do wonder if we're going to see less reliance on Spoit for the remainder of this event because they have more offensive tools. Kino is going through a renaissance. It looks like he's playing a freer style. He can actually engage in fights.
Yeah.
He's not sequestered into that role that he seemed quite uncomfortable on. Packer is capable of getting kills if need be. And then, of course, you got Diffuser and Gunnar. It's not just going to fall onto the shoulders of Spoit as it did a few times on previous iterations of M80. That's going to lower Spoit's numbers. Hot and Cold taking care of Packer. One thing that they were able to do very successfully in map number 1 on the side of Unwanted was strike first. This round, in keeping with the pattern established previously, Packer was on a roam as well, holding that middle floor. Gishmat mines, if they're all put down, though, are passive gadgets, and they'll still be able to affect Unwanted.
Yeah, without much sight util on the side of M80, they really want to work another pick, and that's why Gunner's currently running up to the top floor. Here's a gunfight from Spirits that takes out the Future, so a 2-man advantage now, and the Blackbeard hunting for more. For the top of Raptors, though, it's Spoit and Gunnar, who both find a pick, equalizing at 3.
More will fall onto Gunnar, though, who's 4-0, but on a single point of HP, as he and Kino are now the last 2 alive. 3 still stand for Unwanted. You've got the Dokkaebi up, no calls, though. You've got Blackbeard on the shield. Twitch still has a drone as well, so there's utility here with 2 smokes in pocket, 2 EMPs, 2 grenades as your secondary gadgets. Lots that Unwanted can use. Eno's tucked into the default corner. Is he gonna get smoked or naded? That's the question. Oh my! Of all the operators to see first, a Blackbeard is the worst one. It leaves Gunnar above, hunting through the holes made earlier. Diffuser in the hands of Hot and Cold as he's successful. Now the clock will run against Gunnar. He was tremendous in the previous round, getting back to the bomb site. He won't have that same success here. He's picked apart as he attempts to get down to the main floor. At that point, Unwanted had locked out the bomb site. And a very close start. Both of these teams taking 1 round apiece.
Talk about the good shield play at the start of map number 1, and I think it comes out again here from Spirits, who, with his blitz band out, will take to the Blackbeard more so than any other operator. Got some really good value when he's not immediately dying to Gunnar. Found that entry point into storage that denies the vertical play. And then aware of those players that were up inside our Raptors, they got a good trade onto Spoit halfway through that round. It's that roam clear, really, that gives them that early advantage. Then they work in through sight with that man advantage too. Now tied the game 1-1. It was unfortunate the Packer went down so early playing on that Ella. A lot of times you'll hear community members criticize support-focused players for dying early and playing in aggressive positions as Packer does, but a lot of IGLs prefer to play aggressive on the defense because if they die out in that extended position, if they're playing a death spot and they do go down early, now all of a sudden they can just focus on calling, they can focus on IGLing, they can sit on cams, they can sit where their teammates can cover them, or they can, direct their teammates from the grave, and so that tends to be something you see quite a lot from IGL these days. For the last couple of years, that's kind of been the play, more so than an IGL who sits into the bomb site and tries to anchor. You just have less information when you're playing that sort of a position.
It's hard, too, when you've got not a new IGL, but you've got a new team built around that IGL as well.
Yes.
A lot of these teams are getting their very first game day reps with their rosters here at SI, right? We have gone months without competition. Unless you've played in one of the smaller leagues, you're not really getting the experience that you would get normally were a regular season to be had. Scrims are just scrims. At the end of the day, game day reps are something that you cannot replace. There is really no surrogate to it. So not just new IGLs, not just new rosters, but acclimating to the game, the meta, and your team is always a tough position to be in. 1 minute off of the clock now in round number 3. That was an EE1D from Hot and Cold. Used, maybe to effect from Unwanted, but it's hard to tell. This is the Triforce that we see with the Selmas. On the wall, the grenade will get the mute jammer. It will open up quite well. Actually, they got it perfectly here.
Yeah, nice.
Beautifully done.
So all you really need is the angle once again. The goal of opening this wall is denying a vertical denial. So you're stopping the defense from stopping the plant from going down above. You want to jump in the storage window and go for a play. Adam is holding down below. You've got the ace of Gaveni holding down up above. So let's go and plant in the bomb site.
Hun's in, and it seems like he's managing to evade that smoke for the time being. All of M80 will try to scramble. Gavin, Hutton, and Spirits all die. My goodness, what a sweep by M80. And a jump out from Diffuser. Works out very well. In the blink of an eye, Unwanted have been dropped down just to Adam. Now he takes some damage on the stairs from that barbed wire. His position given away. 2 separate players from M80 wanting this. He gets one, but that's it. Diffuser dies so that Kino can get the final kill.
I heard something.
It was a big gamble from Unwanted, and it looked like it was about a second away from paying off.
I'm down.
It did not come to pass. A great pounce on the attackers by M80, and it's called Unwanted in a position where, or rather, Unwanted's had to call a timeout.
Bit early coming out, but Mintz is an experienced coach. He knows what he's doing here. I'm sure he's got some words of wisdom for the players of Unwanted. That last round, I don't hate the fact that they went for their execute as early as they did. They had the control they needed. They had below, they had above. I believe it was a retake from M80 top floor, where they were able to swing out across the IT room, kill the player that was on the cover, then get a vertical pick with 2 guys up above. That was really good work to deny that plant. Hot and Cold seconds away from getting it down. Nice from M80 to recognize that they needed to make a play like that too, because we saw Kino toss out those Toxic Babes, and you would have thought maybe that's going to be enough to deny this plant, but it missed. Just barely, didn't quite hit the plant that was going down inside of storage, so they needed to make some other kind of a play. If that post plant goes down, it's very strong for the attackers who can sit outside the storage window, who can sit outside the IT breach, even sit down below where the buck was. So smart from M80 to make a play like that. Important to be able to recognize those situations and capitalize on them, and that's really the shot calling from Packer as well, coming into value in that round. They saw a gap, they were able to exploit it. Now M80 take the lead 2-1 defending on Nighthaven Labs. This is Unwanted's pick, but they're starting on the less favorable side, so if this goes 3-3 or even a 4-2, I wouldn't be too concerned. Often we talk about Nighthaven as a map with 2 really strong sites, the top floor and the basement, an okay site in storage that we just witnessed, and then kitchen and dining, which really does not see play in competitive. Now and again, you'll see a pocket strat come out for it, but most teams tend to stay away from it. So with a 2-1 first quarter, I think you're going to be pretty happy if you're M80. Standard stuff going on throughout the first half. Adam going to be Nook, by the way. I love this operator on this bomb site. There's some sneaky ways you can creep to the bottom floor, try to make a late round pinch up above, whether that's through rafters avoiding the default cam, whether that's through Aqua. Gonna start on the roof, but no telling where this journey will take him.
A suppressed Nook. Ooh.
Even quieter.
No opportunity for Gunner to even begin a bandit trick. That's IT wall opened up very early. Bit of a traffic jam inside of Connector with Kino and Gunner stuck on the same door frame. Door stuck, some could even say. But with a clash shield. Maybe a bit different. I don't know if you get that reference.
I don't know what a door stuck is.
You don't know the door stuck reference?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Is this another one of your, like, 85-year-old references? Like, what was it before? Bullwinkle and... what's his name? Woody?
Woody. Rocky.
Rocky.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That's pretty close.
Should look it up. Either way, Gunner was in a position now where he actually hasn't moved very much. You let Kino go away, he'll get some protection back from the shield through this soft wall. Right now in front of Connector, Gunner can actually bandit trick the interior wall. This is an excellent strategy by M80. It's kept that wall completely closed. There's a delayed response from Hot and Cold Zofia, but still doesn't undo the damage that was done by Gunner to your equipment. Finally, that wall gets opened up. Dream still has 1 Selma remaining, as Gunner preps a Nitro cell to slow down the advance of Unwanted. All while this sight is happening, Adam is just slowly creeping up through garage. Spotted by Spoit, though, and completely destroyed! My God, Spoit He gets 2. Can't outduel the Blackbeard. He was in a terrible spot. A grenade dropped in his lap as well. There was no way for him to tussle with the Shield of Spirits. Unwanted only at 1 kill so far. That number is not increasing. It will for but a moment for Spirits, but Gunner seals the round with a Nitro Cell, and M80 are in full control of this map.
Nice, bro. I like that shit, bro.
You know, it only took every single round for Spoit to get 4 kills on map number 1. Through 4 rounds now, he has beaten his kill total from Clubhouse. He's put up 5 here, and I think that Azami being available in such a strong position as that Raptors has really been a big reason why. He is so good at playing up there with the Azami. Brilliant to catch out Adam. I believe there was no install on that because the default cam wouldn't have been able to see him. Gonna flick over to IT, of course, beautifully done. Started off with a big advantage for Spoit. And then it was Diffuser inside the site who grabbed the last couple of kills. We saw him popping off after the round ended. Big stuff coming out from the rookie for M80. Diffuser grew up just about 3 hours south of here in Westchester, New York. I know they're hoping to make a main stage run so that he can see his family and they can watch him play on the big stage.
Why do you know where everybody lives?
I think it's interesting. I like to dox players. Is that such a crime?
I don't think that's doxing if it's public information.
Players,
the act of doxing is when you take confidential information as to somebody's whereabouts, whether it be immediate whereabouts or where they live, and then spreading it online. If they publicly say, like, I'm from Toronto, you're from Edmonton, it's not doxing to be like, hey, Tara's from Toronto.
Players were asked their hometown before the event started, and if they wanted, they had the choice to not say.
Where's Marion?
No idea. No idea.
Yaga just said Marion. There are 9 Marions in the United States.
9 was an exaggeration, but there's a couple, and one is in... Yeah, I did. One is in Massachusetts, where we are right now. So it's possible Yaga's a bit of a hometown hero. If he's not, then I think Diffuser would be the closest thing to a hometown hero. I don't think anybody else... Well, Kobe's from the Bronx, actually, so that's not too far. Westchester's a little closer.
You know this because of all your expertise on GeoGuessr.
I am a fiend on the GeoGuessr. That is true. I know my lamp poles, my bollards. Real ones know.
How confident are you on the shadow of the car when you look down?
Car shadows. I'm not like Rainbow level where I can just smell the grass.
What you just...
Sorry.
Where's Nighthaven Labs located?
I think it's off the coast of Singapore, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, now we know.
In the lore?
I'm not a lore guy. Halfway through this round, and there's plenty to talk about the lore. There's actually a new game mode that's actually been added as well. It was announced earlier today. It looks quite exciting, even though I'm not a lore guy. You can check it out just if you update your game. It takes place on Hereford Base. I think it's a secure area, bomb, and hostage all in one. It's 3 separate stages.
Wow.
Looks quite exciting. We're vamping at the current point in time because Unwanted are in danger of stalling out at the moment.
Yeah, I've done nothing on this roam clear. It smells some opportunity.
Oh, just as you say that, Spirits runs into Gunner. Kino dies now as well. They will bulldoze their way down Exo. Hot and cold, the first casualty for Unwanted. That's in the hands of Packer. Numbers right now favoring Unwanted for a moment. Packer picks up a second. You've got just less than a minute to go. Unwanted still have time to pull this off, and I mean, the timer's going to run. Gavin yet to find a kill, but excellent job when it comes to the objective play. Diffuser caught out by Dream, as Spoit will need to retake the bottom floor, catches Dream off guard before hopping on down. Gavin and Adam remain. They're hunkered down inside the bomb site, sitting on the Diffuser, watching what they've done. Adam's outdueled, so is Spoit. Packer and Gavin in a 1v1, a collision course inside of the site. A flash goes out, and Gavin has a terrific round. Shepherding in the Diffuser, watching over top of it, buying time, getting the final kills. Well, Gavin might have gone unnoticed for the first 4 rounds, 5 rounds maybe.
Let's run the fucking,
That's a statement play by him. Unwanted now in a position where they can tie it up, depending on what happens here in the final round of the first half. This is Unwanted's map. Cannot let M80 run away with this game.
Packer, nearly the hero that M80 needed in that round. Some excellent sight play, a lot of it off cam, but you saw it in the kill feed. He got 2 picks while that push was going down, had another, nearly won the 1v1. He had a 50-50, which way is he going to swing past this pillar? He chose left, Gavin swung right. Way she goes sometimes, and I mean, people have talked about Packer quite a bit this event, all right? He got 2 kills in his first game. That's a full BO3, and people had a lot to say about that. He 5x'd those that number of kills, getting 10 in his second series. Based on the linear projection, then we can expect 50 kills this series, Parker, from Packer. Stats don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Stats can lie, though.
What? Now, stats are numbers. Statisticians can lie.
What did they say? They're stats,
did.
damn stats, and lies?
Yeah.
You, a numbers boy, should know that more than anybody else.
Yeah. Maybe there's some context needed to that 5x return that they got from games 1 to 2, but regardless, a 50-kill performance would be applauded. I think that would erase the 2-kill performance from first game of the day. First game of the tournament, I should say.
Spoyd is very quietly top fragging. Well, he's tied with Gunnar, but they both share 6 kills apiece. Gunnar's survivability has been much higher.
Mm-hmm.
As we noted, Kino with the highest rating on M80 coming into this match, but admittedly, M80 has not played a ton of games, so it's still possible, like most teams, that those numbers will change.
For sure.
First map, though, by Spoyd, well below his potential. Don't think it needs to be said that Spoyd has been widely considered by many to be one of the best to touch this game, at least for the time being. Statement that he made on Rogue and Koi set a very high bar that he's frankly struggled to replicate, but that's not all on him. That's on the teams he's played on. The right supporting cast is absolutely capable of winning another major. M80 are hoping that this one is it. They do look a bit rejuvenated with these 3 new players. Utega behind the bench as well. Players like him. Players trust him. You hope that his coaching ability pays off.
Hot and cold, getting deep on that top floor. Managed to work his way all the way up rafters. Adam, of course, working around this top floor rafters point as well. Diffuser, who strikes first. He finds Dream at some point. Down below.
M80 have done a much better job of being competitive in opening segments. They were a little bit listless on Clubhouse. Diffuser gets maybe a bit too cute. He was in a tough, very tough position. Now the grenade will go out as Spirits hunts down the Warden. Kino escapes. Diffuser is going down, not the player. The case being planted by Hot and Cold. Excellent coverage right now from Unwanted. Adam in particular tearing strips through his defenders. Nitro Cell will go off and do some damage, but not claim any souls. It's Kino and Gunnar last 2 standing. Now it's just all up to Gunnar as Kino dies. Gunnar on a terrific run at the moment. Him and Spirits in a 1v1. Nitro Cell tossed out. Onto the Diffuser, he will go. If Spirits vaults in, he knows he'll be blown open, and Gunnar gets him with the bait! 500 IQ play coming to a ranked game near you.
Adam, you suck!
Yo, you suck at the guy who just got a 3K top floor, is that correct?
Yeah.
Impactless 3K, they didn't win the round. My God.
Hey, you take your wins when they come.
Dude, what did I tell you about Gunnar? He sees the opportunities. He sees the game at a different level. He's such a smart player.
Someone to place a drone in the very basement. Do you know? Does anyone know the drone for that?
He's even given his teammates some calls here for this next round where he wants the drones for the setup. Might be telling that he wants to enter through that bottom floor, but you combine round number 1 and round number 6, right? 2 rounds where Gunnar made game-defining plays. And that's the difference, right? 4-2 for M80. They've won 2 extra rounds on Unwanted, and that really does come off of Gunnar's plays, the way he sees the game, the decisions he makes. First dropping off, both Nitro Cell plays, actually. The first one taking down Spirits on the Blackbeard, and actually the last one taking down Spirits on the Blackbeard, too. A lot of parity coming out from the way that Gunnar plays this game, but, you know, it's not a coincidence. That's raw talent. There's a reason why this guy's a major MVP. And he sits at the top of the scoreboard now, 9-2.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Gunnar also broke the kill record in that best of 5, surpassing the total that had been set by Cyber at the Yavla Major.
That is correct.
Here's a fun fact for you. every single team to get first blood has gone on to win the round. M80 did it in rounds 1, 3, 4, and 6, and they won those rounds. Unwanted did it in rounds 2 and 5, and guess what?
They won those rounds.
You are so right.
When Unwanted were Beast Coast, that was their biggest strength. They actually had the best conversion rate in the NAL for Stage 2.
And who were two very important parts of that Beast Coast?
Well, two very important parts were Gunner and Diffuser.
That's correct. And now they're doing the same thing on M80. Though Spoit has 2 of those 4 first bloods. Gunner and Diffuser have the other 2.
Spoit's great with those opening picks as well. Not surprising to see him getting involved there. Sometimes it relies on the rest of the team to convert those opening picks. But every kill just as important. This top floor now, it looks like the focus is going to be on Pillar and Connector for M80. They are also running the shields. That's more been Unwanted's MO, but they are plenty capable of using these shields themselves. Going to take their time to open this wall, but as soon as they clear out that bandit battery, there should be no problems, as there's no tricking being attempted here from Unwanted.
Before we even got into a single round, we talked about how that IT wall would be protected.
Yeah.
And we said, you know, a lot of teams will go about it. Maybe they'll trick, maybe they won't.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of these teams have attempted to hold that IT wall at all.
Well, it's tough with Tubarão and Kaid banned out, right? I mean, that was kind of the point.
You also said that in the operator. You literally said that word for word. Oh, my. Guess who it is?
It's Gunner.
Are you gonna guess, or are you just going to leave me hanging?
I thought it was a rhetorical question, Parker.
No.
We saw it.
Hot and Cold dies, and now a Nitro Cell sails over top of Packer. You have done an excellent job, if you're Unwanted, of slowing down the shields on attack. There's only one to be had for Blackbeard. Played at the moment by M80. Gunner lost most of his HP in that tussle with Houghton as well. Actually puts Unwanted in a very good spot. They will need to claw back this matchup as they use their timeout early. M80 sprung off to a lead. Diffuser in the ground now as well, as M80 have lost 2 players. That's bad angle for Dream. Adam on the board, though. He's got 2. Down goes Gavin Nakino. Brazilian phenom. Spirits and Adam, last 2 standing. Adam drops. It's all Spirits. Gunner is so low that you could blow a kiss at him and he would fall. Kino taking some damage. A nice shot by Kino. On to Spirits. It's Gunner now to hunt this one down. He's got to hurry. Only 1 second left. And Spirits plays keep away.
You're the fucking goal!
What did Min say back on Clubhouse? Why don't you just hide? And guess what Spirits does? He learns from his coach, and he does exactly what needs to be done when there is 3 seconds on the clock. And you are playing Rainbow Six Siege, and you are a defender, and it is a 1v1. Do you challenge the last person alive? No, you don't. What you try to do is you hide, because you getting the kill will win you the round. And you surviving the next 3 seconds will also win you the round, so long as they're not planting the diffuser.
Yes.
And if they are planting the diffuser, guess what? You have a few seconds to stop them before they pull off the plant. Because the clock starts running. If you start planting that diffuser at 1 second, you can go 6 seconds past the clock, because the round is not over until you either die or you fail to get the diffuser down. So, Spirits plays that absolutely correct. A lot of people will say, oh, cowardly. Shut up and become a winner. And you become a winner.
And Spirits, I mean, he does this so consistently. He's currently the most clutch player in the entire tournament, winning 75% of his attempted clutches through the tournament before this game, including a vitally important 1v2 clutch to beat Liquid. They posted a clip of that insane clutch on Twitter with comms. They just created a Twitter account, so you might not have seen it, but Unwanted have an account where they're posting a lot of clips, including in-game comms, that you should go check out because it's been very exciting, very insightful. Spirits has been absolutely fantastic in these late rounds for Unwanted, and of course, the impact that he's had was enough to help him win a major not too long ago. One of the most underrated players in the world, in my opinion. Spirits is so good.
I just think the early consistency issues from his career are what dog him. That's it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he would go 0-12 and then go 21-5 the next game. When we have conversations about the best players, usually we focus on people who are so consistently good. Spirits is consistently okay, and then he has amazing games.
I think he's gotten a lot better at that fact,
I agree.
too. You know, I think he's really improved as a player over the last
I
year.
agree. That's why I said those early consistency issues dog him. I also think the fact that his entry to pro play came through the Canadian division hurts him quite a lot, because a lot of people saw that when it was around very briefly as a less serious league. First kill of this round, by the way, is Adam onto Gunner, and then he types sit. I have enjoyed the banter between these teams very much.
Bold to be typing to the guy putting up 10 and 3, but again, you take him when you can.
Adam is keeping pace. He's at 8 kills himself.
You're right, you're right.
This is also Adam as a much less experienced LAN player.
Yes.
I got to talk to Hat actually the other day, who's playing here for OXG. He made his LAN debut, and I said, what is it like actually playing on LAN and international event? And he goes, it's like a whole other game.
Yeah.
It's like nothing I played. He goes, it's so different. And there is an adjustment period for some of these players. You know, ask Packer at Montreal how much of an adjustment it is. Two players that need no introduction are Kino and Hot and Cold. They square off. Right now, Unwanted is just batting away this harmless entry from M80. And they look poised to tie things up. Adam breaches 10 kills, could find 11, depending on who's lucky enough to take down Spoit, if they are at all.
Where is Diffuser?
He was dead.
No, I meant the kit.
Oh.
Didn't matter in the end.
Spoit dies in the 1v3 as he was deep inside the site with no objective play. Hot and trying to temper expectations as we have a tie game.
Yeah, nice little roam game coming out from Unwanted. That will prompt a tack timeout from Budega as he chooses this to talk with the team. Obviously, this is one of those moments where M80 needs to slow things down. They don't want this game to slip away from them. I think in that last round, the drone game maybe wasn't quite up to snuff. When they got into that last kind of 60 seconds of the round, they only had 3 drones alive, and they didn't seem to be aware of the position of all of the players of Unwanted that were roaming around that top floor. Most importantly, Adam. He broke double digits that round, as you noted, tying Gunner for top frag of the server.
Yep.
We need to go.
I do appreciate that we're actually able to hear the teams speak at this point in time.
It's less on the B stream, right? It's kind of variable on the B stream. A stream, we hear it very well, which is quite nice.
Oh, I mean, B stream is currently being run by Ferme, who does most of the NAL stuff with his team.
My king, my goat.
You worked with him directly in Philadelphia.
I did.
When you were an analyst actually going there. You know, fun fact, I as a caster have never been to Philly for that actual production. I'm hoping at some point that we can actually visit the studio as casters. But I will say, I mean, the B stream doesn't have the desk the same way the A stream does.
Right.
We are effectively hosts and analysts, and, you know, I've hosted before. You've been an analyst. You and I are very uniquely suited for this. But yeah, I mean, we obviously don't have all the same bells and whistles that the A stream has, but changes are being made every day. And one of those changes is that now the coaches are a little bit more audible. And we can enrich the stream just as A stream does by hearing what the two teams talk about.
Well, Adam hoping to enrich himself even further. He finds a drone. After the 3K last round, he's hoping for one more to breach the sole top fragger, but I mean, he's kind of in a tough spot at the moment. He's very isolated from the rest of his team. Drones are coming out to find his position, and he's not on a Vigil, he's not on a Mozzie, he's on Castle, which is an operator who's already put his util down, which is nice, but doesn't give any actual advantages to the roam game. Will be the focus late round for M8, or early round, I should say, for M8 to clear. And then afterwards, they'll look towards the site. Always some good util work to happen on this IT wall, too. With simple EMPs, this shouldn't be a problem. There's no tricking being attempted by Gavin. He is sitting in sight, nice and pretty.
Gavin, who after a great game in map number 1 is really falling below expectations.
There he
Adam
goes.
was the superstar between the in the previous round.
Deserved.
Gunner outduels him and gives a sit right back to him. This battle's not just happening in the server. It's happening in the minds of these players. Mental warfare, some would say. Look at this! M80 are just storming the bomb site at this point, or rather, above the bomb site. as they wanted to translate very quickly to an execute, sweep through these defenders on Unwanted. They lost one player, but M80 strikes right back. Spoit looking now to get close to double digits. Ooh. Nice play from Gavin. He's doubled his kill tally since we spoke of him. Through the soft wall, isolated, and caught in a crossfire. Spoit collects his second kill. 3 for M80, 2 for Unwanted, and still over a minute to go. Maybe a soft reset here between the teams after half of the server was engaged in that first brawl.
And you would be forgiven for thinking that was the bomb site top floor, but no, it is down here inside of storage and control. The fact they have full top floor control now on the side of M80 means that they could go for a plant in the control room rather than going for the classic storage window plant that you typically see on this bomb site. These pests will keep the drones out for now on M80, but they do still manage to find the Mozzie of Hot and Cold. He's going to be sitting down bottom garage, slightly repositions, but not much with 35 seconds on the clock. Dream hunting for the first.
He doesn't find, or rather find it. He finds it in the wrong direction. Gunner will punish him. M80 allowed Unwanted to close this game up. It's Unwanted's map. You expect them to do well, but M80 has been maybe a cut above so far from all the rounds that we have seen. Playing a very shrewd angle, but it's a huge round from Gunner in particular, getting the final kill, securing 5 rounds for his team.
Oh my god, you're so good. Holy fuck. Okay, back above. Let's just commit to the Raptors. We have Montaigne.
The retake. I could go to Clash. I just don't play under.
That works.
Potential clash coming out.
Yeah, I like that. You hear Gunner say, let's commit to the Montaigne, we're going to get Rafters, and Hot and Cold immediately on the other team says, I could bring Clash. A classic Monty counter.
Okay, get my drones below, guys. Get drones below.
They're reading each other really nicely, and of course that clash will come into effect. He's probably going to hide throughout this prep phase. There he goes, just inside of IT, peeking below the advertisement. Making sure that he can stay undroned is vital, because if M80 find out that there's going to be a clash on the defense, they might choose to swap away from the Montaigne. They might choose to bring in maybe a Capitao. They're already bringing a Capitao, so maybe they suspect it, but there are a lot of those clash-specific counters that you probably wouldn't bring if you didn't know that there was going to be a clash, so hiding is really important in this prep phase.
Is hiding illegal?
Hiding is not illegal, Parker.
Do you think any of these operators used to be cops?
I'm pretty sure Clash used to be a police officer in London.
Really, we had this conversation for London, Ontario?
No.
Second best London in the world, 397 years in a row.
And nobody can take that away from them.
There's going to be one person in the chat being like, London mentioned. There's dozens of us. Dozens of us. From London, Ontario, of course.
Yeah.
I do like the Clash play, and I will be very eager to see this deployment from Hot and Cold. Hot and Cold made a joke many, many years ago when he was on that old DZ roster that the moment he turned 21, he got put on hard breach duty because that is basically the retirement age of Rainbow Six players. But then Han got freed, if you remember, on that Mirage team where he was tearing everybody apart and proving that he's a very gifted player himself mechanically. Clash is not exactly known as a mechanically intensive operator, so that's more game sense than anything. We don't really talk a lot about Hot and Cold's game sense. But I mean, he's a veteran presence at this point and a leader on his team.
You tend to develop a bit of game sense when you're playing the game since year 1, season 1.
That is true.
And trick, nice attempt, almost punished. Dream takes about 50 HP as he gets behind that protection of his Clash.
I think only the second bandit trick on the IT wall we've seen all game.
It's tough with no Tuber out, no Kaid.
Let's say that again.
It's really difficult if you don't have like Kaid or like a Tuber, you know?
I could see it being a challenge.
Walking the Monty of Raptors now. Diffuser with this Capitao could be some problems.
Good reaction time from Gavin to do some damage to Diffuser. Side of Unwanted, you've had to scamper off of Rafters. Fire will burn out in the corner. Ultimately not net what M80 wanted, but still does enough damage to the defensive structure.
Look at this pivot. They're going over towards Aqua.
Almost everybody on M80's taken some damage as well. Not a lot, but it's definitely been done. Spoit, he's the first to die. This has happened a few times on his roll. You come to expect it. Diffuser gets one, almost a second. M80 very close to pushing in on his bomb site. Great read from Gavin, lighting up these attackers. Now it's the shield out to drop the Azami of Gavin. 3 still stand from Unwanted, Diffuser, and Gunner, the last 2 for M80, almost looking like we will need all 12 rounds. If Unwanted prevail here, just like map number 1, we'll either need OT or 12 in regulation. M80 scramble to retrieve the case. Final 15. Diffuser, unlimited HP. Gunner also very hurt. They're looking for that clash. They found it. Diffuser right now trying to battle the clash, watching for the distraction. Gunner taken out, and he just loses on the engagement. Dream and Adam are too good. Too many bodies on the side of Unwanted. And we talk about that game sense from Hot and Cold. He played very conservatively with that clash, hiding inside the site, only taking very safe engagements. I mean, with a clash, a lot of those engagements are going to be safe because of the shield in front of you. But a masterclass by those defenders to keep M80 from crushing the defense on site.
You heard the initial call from M80. They were going to go for Garage. They were going to go for Raptors with that Monty. At some point, they made the decision to pivot. They said, no, you know what? This isn't working. Let's go towards Aqua instead. Let's try to make this play happen. But no matter where they pushed, Gavin was standing tall on that Azami, being a huge problem for them, and ended up getting 2 massively impactful picks at the start of that round, setting up Unwanted in the man advantage to close things out at the end. Gavin's one of those players that we really talk about as one of the best on this team. The coach of Shopify Rebellion, Super, put out a poll to all the NAL players where he had the players of the NAL rank each other. And he made a list of the top 25, I believe, players in the North American League. And Gavin was placed, I think, like 11th or something, a little bit low on the list. And Hot and Cold made a comment on that saying, and I quote, "Gav outside the top 5 is insanity." And I think he's absolutely correct because Gav has been so good. And through the Boston Invitational so far, he is within the top 5 when it comes to kill-death ratio of NAL players. So the stats backing up the claims by Gavin's captain.
I tried to find the list, but I realized I'm not logged into Twitter, so it was a small problem.
Servers were struggling for you there, I saw.
Yeah, it would have been a different. Diffuser playing off of intel that is not present, opening up the unprotected IT wall. M80 very swiftly taking control above. Packer nades out Gavini. Spirits, I think he hit Packer's shield. I don't think he actually hit an active player. That Boss G would have done some serious damage. Death marks keep failing. Why? New jammers.
Spirits was like the original Boss G player in North America.
Same with Finka.
Yes.
He loved Finka ahead of the game. He loved Blitz ahead of the game. He loved Vigil. These at the time off-meta picks. Then we got to a period of time where both Blitz and Finka were mainstays in every region. Give Spirits credit, actually. Most of that credit goes to APAC, with them running those Finka strats. FaZe Clan, back when they had Yuna on the squad, also loved Monty and the Finka. That was something that was a bit abnormal that set them apart. FaZe has always kind of marched to the beat of their own drum. This current iteration of the roster that was 1 round away from being world champions is no different. FaZe are just such a damn good team.
And look at this. They're going for a double kind of flank. Spirits and Adam on the top floor. They know they don't have enough util in sight, so they've got to make an aggressive play. Doesn't seem like M80 have a read on this. They're already starting their plan.
9 players alive and the diffuser going down. Packer gets to the safe point, and there it goes. Not a single scratch done to M80 until a Nitro cell finds itself on the Packer as he gets off of the case. Unwanted still got players up on this main floor. They're going to need to get some kills in a hurry. They just tied the game up. They do not want to be staring down the wrong side of match point on their own pick. Spoit with 1. Adam gets 1 as well from above. Spoit is waiting for the reemergence on the stairs. M80 good enough to take care of these Unwanted players off site. Dream missing most of his shots. He'll have another opportunity, but Spoit is just too good. He nets the final kill, and it's series point for M80.
That flank from Adam and Spirits just a little too late. The defuse kit went down before they could really have any kind of an impact. And then the Boss G didn't land. Spirits did his best up on that roam. Adam was able to catch 1, but the end, it wasn't enough. They were already in a low man count situation. They wanted to take control of the pace of that round, bring it into their own hands, dictate what was happening, but they couldn't. They weren't fast enough. And M80 made that move before they had the chance. Now, as you say, it is series points. 1 round separates M80 from toppling their former teammates. They'd be in a much safer spot in the standings as well. I should mention, Parker, M80 aren't in a huge danger of the lower bracket. They obviously can't get grouped. Shout out to Joel. But I
don't think you should be shouting out a team for being so bad they got eliminated faster than any other team. No other team, by the way, has been eliminated from this event. Team Joel got eliminated yesterday. Shout out to them for losing. That's what Jesse said.
The point is, lower bracket is still a threat for M80.
You were a generational hater.
Someone said that about me. M80 could still be in the lower bracket if they stumble in this game, if they don't find more success in the group stage. Unwanted have mostly avoided that fate based on the odds. I know our friend Sprabunny has been putting up the percentages for all of the possibilities up on Twitter. You should go check that out because he's been doing an excellent job keeping the community up to date on stuff like that. But it was really M80 who were concerned about lower bracket. If they win this game, especially in a 2-0 where you get 4 points instead of 3, that would be a big difference maker.
Yeah, they don't actually jump all the way up to second place.
Wow.
So there's a log jam at the moment. Unwanted sits at 7 points, Team Liquid on 5, M80 on 4. So if you can 2-0 it, you gain 4 more points. You go all the way up.
Nice.
G2, who's at the top of this group, is untouchable at the moment. Even if Unwanted 2-0'd this, they still wouldn't be able to catch G2.
Yeah, tomorrow I think Unwanted and G2 play, I believe. So there might be a chance if Unwanted win this to also then vault over.
Chance is still very possible.
Take it 1 game at a time, of course.
One team has secured their spot in the second phase of this event in all 4 of the groups. As you noted, Team Joel being the first team and only team so far eliminated means that the remainder of this group is good to go. Shopify Rebellion locked in their spot in Group B. Dark Zero, despite their loss to PSG Talon earlier today, was able to secure a spot, so they cannot go home. And over in Group D, it's Virtus Pro. Group D is actually quite fascinating if you look at those points. Scar's at 0 points at the moment, but W7M, Space Station, and Oxygen all tied up.
M80, they've got a task to do it here too. Avoid that lower bracket spot themselves. It's 5v5, but I mean, this is a good position to be in.
Oh my! Blackbeard and Valkyrie coming blow to blow. Huncold actually wins the first engagement. Diffuser trades it right back. He had an opportunity to go for a play, and he still does. Trust in your teammates, son. Adam out-duel. Down goes Spoit. Diffuser has to hop off, taking care of Gavin. It's Dream as the last one standing. His Nitro Cell connects. At this point, he
Let's go!
But what a play by M80 at the end to pick up a 2-0 victory.
Nobody knows everything I do, but I was getting away with everything.
My jaw is on the floor. A 7-5 victory on map 1, a 7-5 victory on map 2. They allowed Unwanted to get close to overtime both times, but close does not count. A huge win for M80.
Boys with a paycheck, get it done in 2. You see the respect being paid now, the fist bumps. A lot of love between these players, despite the circumstance. It was a close game. It was 2-0, M80 walking away with all the points in this series, but you shouldn't feel bad if you're Unwanted. That's going to be their first loss of the tournament, and they played well despite going down 0-2.
Team Liquid now falls to the bottom of the standings. What will happen for the rest of the group? We'll find out tomorrow. As for this matchup, let's break it down after the break.